Hey, what's going on? So today we're going to look into moving our camera with our mouse and our keypad. So when the time we're finished, we should get something like this. Yes, by the time we're finished, we'll be able to move our camera around with our mouse. So right now I am moving my mouse. And then also with our keypad. So let me move my keypad. Nice. So this is what we're going to be working on today. So let me minimize this. We're starting out with a blank screen. So the first thing we want to do is go to Window, Package Manager, and this should pop up for you. And we're going to install Cinemachine. So I already installed it into this project. But what you'll do is navigate to Click Packages, navigate to Unity Registry if it's not already there. Today's a beautiful day, isn't it? Type in Cinemachine, it should come up. You want to click this, and right here it'll say install, so you want to click install. And if something happens, you get an error when you open Package Manager, it probably means like it'll make me say something like can't find packages, something like that. That means you need to go back to the Unity Hub and sign out, then sign back in. Then you'll want to exit out of Package Manager and go back into it. Alright, so after you install it, thank you very much. I'd like you to make your scene or just add something to your scene. So all I did was edit a plane. Then I increased the size a little bit. I created a material for the plane so we can get some color. So I right clicked, create material, and I got this, except it was white. Then I changed the color to something I liked on albedo. Exit it out, boom. I also added a capsule, which is this thing right here. And remember that this is for moving around. If you are on just so you know. And this is to manipulate the transform, so the position, rotation, position of the object. Just the different tools. Anyway, so I added a capsule, so I right clicked in the hierarchy tab, 3D object, capsule, and this came out. So let's make sure the capsule is, oh, well, let's not worry about that. So after we got your thing set up, good job. Let's right click in the hierarchy and let's go down to Cinemachine. And the one we want to pick is virtual camera. Nice. So virtual camera is like a virtual camera. So it's the main camera, but it connects to the main camera. So you can say it's the brains of the main camera, and it makes it a little bit easier to do different things. I think that's all we gotta know about it. All right. So let's kind of check to see where things have changed, right? We talked about the Cinemachine brain, and we talked a little bit about this, and this is what we're going to really be playing with. So right here, this is our follow parameter. So the object that the camera wants to move with, and this will be the body target. So all these settings will control the following feature. That's what it looks like. If this is null, then the VCam's transform position will define the camera's position. And this is what the object is looking at. And this is what the aim set of options are for. So what we want the object to look at is our capsule player, and we want it to follow this player also. So let's drag capsule. So click and drag. Oh man. Highlight the camera and click and drag. Do the same thing for follow and look at. Nice. So now you'll see that the camera is now moving with our player. So let's change a few of the settings. So let's look at follow first. I'm just checking my reference guide. Oh, and before we do all this, alright, so let's keep a few things as they are. So looking back at the virtual machine camera, let me check my settings real quick. Yeah, so looking back at the camera, and the scene. So FOV, that's a field of view. So see, just capturing more stuff in the camera's view. And let's put ours to 40. You can change this as you see fit. Let's look to see how it changes. So that was 40, and this is 80. So yeah, just a different look. I'll move it to 60. And let's keep it moving. This can stay the same. Far clip plane. So far region of the render. Defines the far region of the renderable range of the camera frustum. Typically, you want to set this value as low as possible without cutting off desired distant objects. I would say not necessary, so we can keep that the same. Let's keep everything else the same. Okay, so these are the different settings that we have for the body. And to learn a bit more, so let's choose the framing transposer. And to learn a little bit more about that, we can go to the documentation on Cinemachine. I'll share the link also. So it says it right here. The body properties offer the following procedural algorithms for moving the virtual camera in a scene. Right. So transposer is moved in a fixed relationship to the follow target. Framing transposer moves in a fixed screen space relationship to the follow target with optional damping. Okay, so I'll share this with you also. So let's go back. Nice. So yeah, this just allows us to have some more control over where our player is allowed to be within the screen view, within the game view. So I like to turn this down to 0, and because this is what it looks like. So we can edit a few of the controls here, so we can just get a feel for it while this loads. So let's go down to Cinemachine, body. This is frame and transport too. So right now my damping, I'm gonna turn that off. Right now my damping is to 0. So I'm moving forward, moving backward. And I think you can kind of see that. So let's move damping up to 12. So moving forward. See, so it allows it to move a certain distance away and from the camera before the camera starts moving with it. And then it gradually goes back to its original spacing. Nice. So I like moving this down to 0. I haven't been able to see a change with this. So let's just focus on these things. Camera distance, how far, how close. Tracked object offsets, so the offset from the object. You can play around with this. It's the same. I'm gonna keep mine at 0. Dead zone weights. We can go back to the documentation for that. So dead zone is the area of the frame that the Cinemachine keeps the target in. And then there's soft zone, And if the area hits this, if the target enters the region of this frame, enters this region within the frame, the camera will reorient itself so it will move to put it back in the dead zone. So all this has something to do with where the object is allowed to go and not to go. And in order to see this, we'll want to go to game window, guys. And this blue line moving, that's the dead zone width. So this is where the player is allowed to be. This is dead zone heights that's moving right now. So let's put this down to 0 and let's just see real quick. So I'm about to move my character. So see, it's allowed this space to move without the camera moving. And then I have my soft zone width, right, which I'm adjusting now. So if it hits the edge of that width, which is the limit, well, it won't hit it like that. Right. So if it hits the edge of this width, it won't let it go any further. I think it should reorient itself, but it's not doing that. I think if I did move, does it go back if it's idle? No. So there is a way for it to go back, but let's not worry so much about that now. This is a little extra type stuff. So we can keep this to 0, 0. You may want to keep the height. This is also where it can't go. Oh, I think that's why. So since dead zone is where it can be, and the soft zone is where it can't be. Let me just try something else. Anyways, but yeah, so the soft zone is where it can't be. So if it hits that edge, it will center. So that's why if we do it like this, we can still move a little bit up, a little bit down, but it'll go back to the center. And that's because we increased the height, so let's increase the width too. Let's see. And see, that goes back to center that way too. So yeah, let's play around with these two if you like. So I just wanted to show that in this scene since I have this one set up for movement already. Now let's go back into ours. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so like what I said, we can put this down to 0. So remember this is selected. Maybe add this up a little bit. Or you could put it to 0. We can change the camera distance. Let's keep it like this. And then I'll keep my soft zones somewhere around here. And you can see the movement a little bit too here, which might be interesting. See how it kind of does a little lag? Before it moves, it's kind of hard to notice that it's so small. But that's not super important right now. Let's just focus on the camera. So we talked about dead zone, soft zone, and we said let's adjust this. This can be kept the same, center on activate, yes. And then let's change the aim to, so all right, we finished with the body. Now let's focus on the aim and let's change that to POV. And what does POV let us do? Oh yeah, so we can go back, but POV lets us change the settings with our inputs, and it says right here in the documentation too. Yes, POV, let's rotate the virtual camera based on the user's inputs. You can check this out also. So since that's what we're doing, let's go back to our scene. All right, and these settings, so let's look. It's current value, value range. So it's the range that you can rotate up on the vertical axis. So let me look at my other one for reference. So for the POV and for the vertical, but before we do that, if you all follow my instructions on setting up the inputs, you'll probably have, I don't think I have it on this one. Let me check, and check. So I didn't realize that for this project, I didn't have the new input system set up like I showed you before. So I'm gonna set it up for this project just so you can all can, my project can be like yours, and we can see what happens when that is set up. Because right now the Cinemachine is set up to use the old input system, so there's one more step that we have to take in order for everything to work properly. And as it loads, we should see in project. Yep. All right. So let's go back to our stuff. Okay, so see, we see it right here, and you also see this box too. If you have the new input system set up, it'll say input system package is installed but is not used to control this VCam. Adding the input provider. If it does not have one. Okay, so it adds this component to this VCam, enabling the VCam to read input from input actions, like what we set up last time. And it looks like it already has this set up by default in one of the packages. Interesting. So let's see if it does work, or maybe it's just looking for that. Let's see. Oh yeah, so it does work right out the box, which is very cool. And so let's keep it going. You saw how wild that was? It was really sensitive. So let's turn the sensitivity down. And let's do a few more things with this. So let me look at my template. So let's figure out what to put for, oh, and then you also see that this no longer says mouse here. And so that's another way for you to tell that the changes took place. So focusing on vertical axes, let's make one more change, recenter target to follow target forward, or look at target forward. All right, and let's go to, so this allows you to change where it is. So just moving the target up and down, I mean the camera up and down. Or is this rotating? Oh yeah, it is rotating, cool. Oh yeah, because it's always looking at the target, right. So just saying where it is. Okay. All right. So let's look at the vertical axis. Let's change the speed a little bit so it can not move so fast. Alright, so let's go back to changing the speed. So right now our speed is 300, and first let's change this to input value gain. And let's change our speed to 0.08. Delete that. Alright, let's see the difference. See, is a lot slower going up and down. Now let's go to horizontal. And where is that at? Aim, horizontal. Let's change that to 0.08. Input value gain. And let's move this down to 0.02 or 3. All right, now let's see the difference. Wow, a lot easier. So you can change it as you like. And if you prefer it not to go underground, because you see it goes underground for a little bit. Let's turn this on if we can. Got this, we got this. Yeah, it's called Cinemachine Collider. So let's see if we can find that. If it's there. And that's about it. If you did want to get the collider for the B camera so it doesn't fall into the ground or fall into other objects, you would have to, it looks like it doesn't come as a preset here. So you would want to go to package manager. It should say Cinemachine. Oh yeah, Cinemachine, and you want to click samples, and then you want to import the example scenes. And then the scene, so then you want to go to download as samples in the asset folder, samples, Cinemachine. Then you want a third person with aim mode. Click into the scene, and what you want is this. Yeah, so see, this is the script I'm talking about. Doesn't look like there's a way to copy it, but let's say edit. So you want to edit the script. Because I couldn't find it in the folders. Yeah, so you could just make a copy and paste, but that seems like too much work, right? So what you could do is you could just copy this, copy, and then like paste it in your assets folder. Copy. Or would I just drag it? Yeah, I guess I could just drag it, and I don't want it to be prefab. So meaning I don't want this to, if any changes I make to this, to be connected to this. So what I'll do is I'll click this and prefab, then unpack completely, and that unlinks it. And then from here, I will go to scenes, go back to my scene, say save. and then I could drag this here. And if I really wanted to, I could replace all the changes we made here. I could make them right here, so that I could use this collider. And then I would remove this. But it's only if you want to. And that's the video. So what did we do? So we installed Cinemachine, imported it into our project. We went uh, over the settings for it, edited some of the settings to how I think would be to what I like the settings to be. And then we set it up to move on with the mouse. So if you wanted to change it and move with the mouse keys, you would create you could create your own input action. So let me move to my assets. You can make an input action, create input action, say double click. Let's do this really quickly. So say value, let's say vector2. And then let's say up, down, left, right. Delete this. Let's change the name to rotate cam. Click in autosave. Alright. I go back to the main camera. Alright, sorry, the C cam. And then I'd go here. Go to my scene. It didn't work. What else would I do? Let's say it's looking at the assets. Oh yeah, so I guess it's looking at all the input actions. So it sees this one, right? And this is one we just made. So it's saying this is the map, and then this is the action. That's one we just made, and then so it's still playing. So now so let me move the arrow keys, and I'm moving the arrow keys right now. Okay, cool. But so that's if you wanted to use the arrow keys for it too. So we went over a few things. Yeah, and it's still rotating. It just looks like it's hovering because there's nothing really on the ground right now, so it does look like it's hovering. But anyways, yeah, so we went through all that. We set up the virtual cam. We went through all the different particulars on the setting, on its setup. And so yeah, we did a lot of great things today. Oh man, I feel nervous, but I still believe. Hope everybody's having a great day. Take care, and good job. Good job. Thank yourself today. Give yourself a big thank you. And I'm going to thank myself too. Talk to you later.